Hi, this is Abul Hussain coming to you direct from London, the United Kingdom, and welcome to another episode of the SMMA Mastermind podcast, where we talk about how you can start or scale your digital marketing agency. And we also bring on guests who talk about their subject matter expertise that could help you deliver exceptional results for your clients. Now, if you are watching this interview outside of our Facebook group, make sure you find the link above or below this video, or go to smmamastermind.com, especially if you want to go further with your agency. Now, with that out of the way, I have a very special guest joining me all the way from Texas in the USA. If you didn't know where that was, the Lone Star State. She is the diva of digitalization, the Lioness Liberator, the boss lady of breakthrough. Laura Nutt, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all today.
Thank you very much for joining me. Now, we've obviously had a very quick conversation about, I suppose, what you do, but for the people who have not come across you before, how about a little bit of an introduction?
Absolutely. Well, I'm Texas born and bred, so hey y'all. So I will drop some Southernism. So I do not apologize for that. I embrace where I'm from and my lovely accent and my cohorts who speak maybe a little bit more Texas-y than I do, but it comes out. So I actually am a licensed professional counselor. So I do counseling as well as social media marketing as well. So just a little bit of background about the Lioness Liberator. So I can help you both in the personal realm with the counseling and also the professional realm to make sure that you are being truly yourself, being authentic. Boss Lady Breakthrough, again, is also the personal and professional, and the Diva of Digitalization. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said it. My tongue twisters. Is making sure that your authenticity is translated appropriately online. So truly any realm that you need help in being authentic and vulnerable and roaring to the best of your ability, I'm your gal.
Right. Okay. Well, are these three separate programs, or like, let's talk about the first one. The Lioness Liberation or Did I get that right?
Yeah, Lioness Liberator. Yeah.
Lioness Liberator. Well, close enough to liberation. Tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So I have always felt like I've identified with a lioness. I would say a lion, but of course, being a female, I will settle for lioness. And one of the things I love about a lioness is that she, even though she's not the male, who's scary and his roar can be heard a mile away, and he's got this mane and he's very proud and he's the leader of the pride, the lioness is equally as powerful because she's still very regal. She's still very strong. She knows her role, but she does not diminish her identity. And I love that about the lioness because she is the one who hunts. So for those of you who don't know, the male lion is basically there to scare you, and the lioness is the one that actually pounces on you and takes you out. So,
Well,
I
I've
love
learned
that about
something.
Right. Yeah. So the lion, he actually roars and scares the prey, and then the lioness actually goes in for the kill. So lionesses, they hunt for the family, they take care of the family, they are the backbone, and they support. But again, they still have that powerful regal presence, and they yield when they need to, and they lead when they're supposed to. And so that always truly resonated with me, it's not just as a woman, but as a human being, is being humble enough to say, I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. I'm not great in all aspects, but I do know the power that I have, and I do want to unleash that. And so I help others, primarily women, but men as well. You can unleash your lion, not just your lioness, or if you prefer lioness, that's cool too. Unleash your roar and just truly be you in whatever context that is, if that's professional, personal, social, communal, whatever that is. I'm there to help people to be that.
Right. Okay. So when you're talking about unleashing the big cat within, or
Yes.
your Timon or Pumbaa, or whatever you like to call it, what?
Meerkat, hog, warthog,
Yeah.
Rafiki.
What does that process actually entail? How are you kind of helping your clients to achieve or to see that potential at least?
Absolutely. Well, and that's a great question, because that's what a lot of I get is, okay, lioness slipper, really, really cool. But how do you get down in there and find that roar, so it kind of goes from round to like, girl, honey, like, how do you get there? Well, first, it always starts with creating an authentic relationship. So it's being honest, it's being truthful. So anyone that I meet with, I tell them, don't trust me. And trust me, I get a lot of, really weird responses when I say that, but I say, I need to earn your trust. I'm going to show you respect, but I need to earn those things. Don't just give it to me, because you're worth more than that. So I
Hmm.
spend time with that person and I ask for authenticity. I ask for truth and honesty, because I say, I'm going to be honest with you. And I ask the same. And I want you to be authentic, but I want you to do that as much as you feel comfortable. So if I'm ever crossing a
Right.
boundary or anything, let me know. So we first build that relationship. And then once that's built and the trust is established, then we start talking about, who are you really? Like, what is the essence of you? What makes you get up in the morning beyond just having to get up and go to work and mouths to feed and pay bills and, just the general grind of day-to-day life? But what really drives you? What makes you just so excited where you just can't wait to go do something, and just put you in a state of euphoria when you do that? What do you look forward to? What are your values? What's your why? Your driving
Mm.
force. And when we find that driving force, then we start building upon that and saying, okay, so if that's your driving force, then let's build you around that driving force, because that's what's going to keep you going and that's what's going to keep you the happiest. Are you matching up with your why? Is your what, how, when, and where matching up with your why? And let's be honest, most people, it's not.
Mm.
So that's why they're
True.
depressed or stressed or they're not happy, because they're going against the grain. And so it's very shocking, but almost liberating for people to realize that, to go, oh my gosh, there's another way. Yes. Yes. And so we discover that, and we do that through a lot of discussion. I call it excavation. We're kind of peeling layers back, like there's an onion, or I think of myself as a miner, and I hate to say a pickaxe, but we're kind of chipping away at everything. And then when we see the real authentic person and the real drive of that person, the real values and stuff, they just feel so free when they can be themselves in a place where they're not judged.
Hmm.
They have a non-judgmental space where they can speak as they would like to speak. They can be themselves. They don't have to hide. They don't have to feel like I have to put on a facade. And for some of us, we have to do that much more often than others. I mean, let's be honest. I have this conversation a lot, especially with wonderful people of color who I speak to. They say, hey, we have to do this all the time. I say, I don't understand that, but I want to provide a space for you where you don't have to feel like that, because
Hmm.
that's not fair. That's not fair that you have that. And when that's established, it's amazing. It's like a flower that blossoms. People are just like, oh
Right.
my gosh, wow. Like, I could be me, I could talk, and then I could do this, I could do this, I could do that. And then it's just overflow happens, and that lioness or that lion or that big cat or Timon Pumbaa, Rafiki, whoever it is, just comes out and it's just roaring. And I love it. It's that aha moment.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I haven't been myself and now I can be myself, and I love that. And those are just the greatest moments, and it just starts with
Mm.
conversations. That's really
Right.
where it starts. It's conversations. It's helping them to understand, and then they have to do the homework. So sorry, I give homework. You have to do homework. It's just the way it is. I can't do it for you. But when they do the work, it's amazing
Right.
what happens. And it's such a beautiful process, because they
Uh-huh.
begin to be successful in everything that they do. And all it started with
Right.
is, don't trust me, just get to know
Oh,
me. And
some
then you'll
some
get to
reverse
know yourself.
psychology going on there. NLP
Well,
dark
yeah.
arts.
Yeah, it's a little bit of reverse psychology, but at the same time, it's giving power and honor to that person to say, hey, like, I don't expect you to do that. Please don't.
I love
Because
it.
it's a privilege. It truly is a privilege for you to have someone's respect or have someone's
Yeah.
trust. It's not right for me to go in and go, oh my gosh, you know, tell me all your deepest, darkest secrets, even though you
Mm.
don't know me. Like, I would be looking at somebody like, are you crazy? Like,
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's a
not
great
gonna do
pattern
that.
interrupt, because obviously when people are, I suppose, selling, they usually follow some sort of a script. And when
No.
someone's spoken to plenty of salesmen, they can identify the patterns. But when someone comes along and says, actually, don't trust me, it kind of, flips things on its head a little bit. Now, the people who are approaching you, are they looking for a career change? Are they looking for a promotion? Are they looking to build some sort of a business? What kind of people normally approach you for your help?
Sure. So it really runs the gamut. It's a little bit of everybody. I do find a lot of startups, a lot of solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, people who are really struggling with wooing and winning the client, and especially on the digital space. Because with COVID going on, the political tensions, racial tensions, natural disasters, 2020 has just been quite an experience, I think, for all of us in different ways around the world. It's really put people in a bit of a bind. And I think that they've forgotten that authenticity rules no matter what format it comes in. And so what I'm finding is people who are, again, trying to build their business, kind of find their place, they're forgetting that since we can't meet face to face, your profiles on social media, your websites, your web faces, your landing pages, that's your business card. That's your presentation to the world on who you are. And if I'm looking at that, then I'm going to have a certain expectation of you. And then if we're able to get to this point, where we have a Zoom meeting, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting, Google Meet, Zoom, whatever it is, then I'm going to have a certain expectation based on what I've seen and what I've read and what I've heard of you. And if it doesn't match, there's a huge problem. And that's
Right.
what I'm finding. A lot of people they have the website, which looks great. They have the social media, but they're not getting a lot of engagement on their
Right.
posts. They're not getting a lot of lead generation. They're not getting what they need. They're not wooing and they're not winning clients. They're going, well, what's the problem? Well, then I take a look at it and I meet them on a Zoom call and I go, is this the right Zoom call? Not trying to be rude, but it's going, you are not the kiss of death phrase. You are not what I expected.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear that, especially in the world of business. All my salespeople, marketing people are like, oh, probably like cringing because I hate those phrases. But that's what my clients are getting. They're getting, you're not what I expected, or like, oh, you know what? Like maybe this is not what I want to do. And no, that's not what you want to hear. You want them to see it, hear you. And then when you get on, you want to hear the words, oh my gosh, you're exactly as I expected. Oh my gosh, you're even better than what I expected. But you sound like the way you post. You sound like yourself in your videos. That's your same language. Your mission is clear. Your vision is clear. I get it. I want more. What do I need to do to get more? And so all those people who are coming to me, I'm saying, hey, just let's go back to the authenticity. Let's have the conversation. Don't trust me. And then when you learn to trust me, you can learn to trust yourself. And then you can look at it and go, oh no, like my profile does not reflect who I am. My website does not reflect who I am. And then you start writing that way. You start speaking that way. You start posting that way. And that's what draws people in, because no matter what anybody says, your KLTs, your know, like, and trust is king. And then also your ability to be authentic is king. We love authenticity. Our BS detectors are pretty. They're pretty good, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, you've mentioned authenticity more times than I can count in both right now, right? So a lot of people would think, well, you know what? I show up authentic. I am me. I have integrity. I am honest. I've never cheated anybody. How much more authentic can I get? And how does one effectively portray authenticity? And how does one gauge it, I suppose? How do you portray and how do you gauge it?
Sure. So, and that's a great explanation of authenticity. Because you think, well, I'm real. I don't cheat people. I don't do this. I don't do this. That is authentic, right? Because that's being honest. Well, authentic is, the way I'm using it, is being true to yourself. So when you're having a conversation, are you being honest about your thoughts? Are you being honest about your feelings? Or are you saving face? Are you putting on a facade to fit in, to gain approval, to have a perceived favorable outcome. There are people who will refer to that as code switching.
Right.
And there's some people who do feel that way, that they completely have to put on a facade for it to be safe. And I don't want to tread on that, because I understand to a point from what's been explained to me that there are some situations where that's necessary. But what I'm talking about with authenticity is like, are you true to yourself? Like, are you lying to yourself about what's important to you, what you want in life? Are you speaking truths that you believe? For example, like if I'm very, very passionate about helping people and wanting to help people, am I actually doing that?
Right.
Am I actually going out of my way to help people? Am I actually putting people's priorities and their needs in the front of my mind so that I can meet them? Or am I taking advantage of them? Am I hurting them? Maybe I'm not cheating them. But maybe there's an opportunity where I wanted to help that person, but I was like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I'm saying that I'll help people on LinkedIn. I'll help them be more authentic, but I'm really just taking their money. I'm really just lying to them so I can have a conversation. So there is monetary concerns with being inauthentic, but there's also just, I'm trying to explain the best way I can. I mean, there's
I get it now. A lot of people will think, well, could authenticity be faked? Because there are people out there who obviously fall for the snake oil salesman, or they fall, the shiny object or whatever it might be, and the delivery doesn't come. So the person who has sold it to them, were they faking authenticity? Coming to, how do you kind of, yes, we all have our kind of, BS radar, if you like, position of vulnerability, all guards go down, because we're looking for a solution, if you like. So, how do people get away with faking authenticity?
Yeah, I know. And that's is something that I hate to admit, but yes, there are people who do fake authenticity. There are people who do fake that they care. There are people who fake that, oh, I'm going to help you, I'm going to do all this, and they swindle the heck out of you, not just money wise, word wise, emotional wise, and people are devastated by that. And I personally want to say, I'm sorry to people that that's happened to, because that's not something I ever want to do. And it's happened to me too. And so just, I'm sorry for that. And I know that makes it very hard to trust people because of being burned in the past, because you're trying to protect yourself. And so, thank you for being honest and courageous and being willing to know that there are people who are truly authentic. So, I love this topic, but it's so difficult to talk about with people because it's so emotional. But for me, that's why I use the don't trust me.
Yeah.
Prove to me that you're trustworthy. Prove to me that you have kind of like, I think of Missouri in the US, the show me state, right? is prove to me, prove to me that you're there for me, that you're listening to me, that you have my interests in mind, because I'm not going to just off the bat say, oh, you're going to do this and do that. Because let's think about a typical relationship. Especially like romantic or long-time friendship or something where there's going to be intimacy of different levels depending on the relationship. Do you walk up to somebody and just go, oh my gosh, you're my new best friend? I hope not.
Not on most days.
If you do, okay, but just be careful. That's all I'm asking you to do, is just be careful, because a lot of times that's not the best thing to do. No, to gain a good intimate relationship, and intimate is not just physical, it's emotional, it's verbal, it's just getting close to somebody in some format. We spend time with that person, we talk with that person, we exchange information as we feel comfortable, and that naturally builds a trust, it builds a knowing, it builds an understanding. And as long as it's feeding the needs that you have, which is, to be liked, to be accepted, to be included, to be supported, to be told the truth, to be honest, and all those kinds of things, then the relationship continues. Typically, if it doesn't and we're hurt, then that's what we shut it down. Now, some people who do have relationship issues and boundary issues may continue. We know this, but for most of us, we have a point where we go, okay, yeah, I like this. We'll go to the next level. No, I don't. So the best way for me and clients I've worked with is just time. Time, time is of the essence, but time is of the essence to build a good relationship, a trusting relationship, because anybody who rushes you, to me, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Well,
if you rush me on anything, you do. No, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's fine there. Didn't want to interrupt you in flow. I think that was going to be the next question, because obviously, you're talking about building a relationship.
No, go ahead.
Oh. Are you there? You froze for me for a second.
I'm still here.
1 second.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I probably made its lovely face.
No, that's fine. No, the internet connection, I don't know. Zoom is always like this, but these are the parts that we have to edit in the middle. So that's fine. We can carry on. So obviously, when you're talking about building a relationship, that takes time, right? How do you translate that into a sales process where obviously you don't want to spend a year chasing someone because you need to eat this month? How long should this courtship from a business perspective take?
Yeah, it's definitely different when you have to create that rapport in such a short time. You don't have, like you said, a year or whatever chasing is. You have to eat, you have to pay the bills, right? Let's be honest. If money was no object, we would just take as much time as we needed, even though I personally would not want to take a year. Some people might need that. So for me, just based off my mental health background, I have an understanding of helping people to feel comfortable is really to focus on them, and is really, what are your needs? How can I assist you? So rather than assuming what they need, I ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of, okay, I first thank them for truly extending some trust and vulnerability in bringing me in and talking to me. And I thank them for that honor, because again, it is an honor and privilege that they chose me out of who knows how many people. I say thank you so much, and I value your time, so I make sure to end on time. And I say, if there's anything that you feel uncomfortable with, please let me know. If this is not something you want to pursue, we can go ahead and end this. I always give the power to whoever I'm talking to say, this is your time. I value your time, and I want to give you everything that you need. Right. So I'll just ask questions and say, how can I assist you? What was it that stuck out to you that you feel I can help you with? And I just let them tell their story, or because again, even with sales is a story. There's something that they need. There's something that they're wanting. And I'll say, oh, okay, so it sounds like you're wanting this, this, and this. And I'll always make sure to clarify, did I hear that correctly? So I'll summarize and paraphrase. And then if I didn't, I'll say, oh, my apologies. Can you please clarify? And then I'll say, okay, so what I heard was X, Y, and Z. Yes, that's true. Okay. And we'll go through, and I'll keep asking questions and allowing them to share as they feel comfortable. And if they do start to feel a little bit more comfortable, and I can sense that because they're flowing a little bit more, there's not that awkward silence or waiting for me to ask a question, then I may ask a little bit more and say, okay, what do you think it is that's held you back? Or what do you think that you're needing? Or what is a void that you need filled? Asking a little bit more. And if they give that, then you'll go a little bit more. I just kind of go with the flow with it. I let the client set the tone, and then as we go, just keep going with it, and at their pace. I don't rush them. If they're kind of just rambling, talking, I'm like, okay, that's good. They feel comfortable. They feel comfortable enough to talk. So, and again, and I always compliment them. Thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. Thank you for feeling comfortable. Thank you for this time. And then at the end of it, I put the ball in their court. I said, did everything that you expected, it's maybe a little awkward, but did you get everything that you needed out of this meeting? Were all your expectations met? And if they weren't, what can I do to rectify that? And we'll deal with that.
Well, we are literally touching the tip of the iceberg, and we are so quickly running out of time. So, final question for you is, so when you are, I suppose, being authentic, being yourself, what does your prospecting look like? Are you attracting people, or do you need to go chasing leads to get them on the phone to, I suppose, essentially pitch them or get them into your funnel?
I'm happy to say I don't have to chase. So I'm very, very thankful. That's a huge blessing because I know not everybody has that. And that's why I talk authenticity, vulnerability, because how I got there is I'm primarily on LinkedIn. So for anyone who's interested in connecting with me, I ask, please send a personalized message just so I know who you are, because I don't cold connect typically, and that's just to protect me and my time. But I'm very vulnerable on my post. So if something is going on with me, I'm human. I'll say, oh my gosh, I'm having a little bit of a difficult time, or this is what, like I did a post today and I shared some vulnerable moments about my family. So that way people, I think, are drawn to that because they go, oh, you're human. You're not just somebody that's like, well, this is my product and buy this and buy that. I'm like, no, there's a human on the other side of the screen, just like the client, there's a human. So for me, I don't chase. People are actually drawn to me because of that. They read a post or a blog or hear me on a podcast and they go, oh, you seem real. You're someone I want to talk to. And they get exactly the same person who wrote that post or in that podcast. And so again, if you're yourself, people are they're going to love you or hate you. The first sale you'll ever make is yourself.
Yeah.
So if you sell yourself to that person that know, like, and trust, no matter what your product is, no matter what your service is, they're going to be loyal to you.
No, that's
I
awesome.
speak from my experience, but it's true.
And you've already mentioned, people can find you on LinkedIn, but do you have a website or a blog or anywhere else that people can go and find out more about the Lioness Liberator?
Yes, I do have a website. It is, 𝗧𝗲𝗹𝗹.com. Now, if you do go, don't be shocked. It is down right now because I'm revamping it, but it will be up very, very soon because I get all these messages. Your website's down. I'm like, I know. And then on LinkedIn, I'm the linkedin.com/in/liberated lioness. So you can find me there. And I usually post a few times a week. So if you want to check me out, fill me out, see what you think, besides what you've experienced on this podcast, please feel free to engage with me on those posts as well. And I am posting my own podcast pretty soon. It's called 𝗧𝗲𝗀𝗃. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and you'll get more wham bam honey jam nut house. So.
Awesome. On that note, Laura Nutt, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.